We heard about the end of the war in Iraq. This is something that may help Barack Obama, and it may not. We're below 50,000 troops in Iraq for the first time since the war began in 2003. Now, in theory, this is one of the campaign promises that Barack Obama made, scaling down, rolling back, ending the war in Iraq, that he theoretically could keep. At the same time, is this really the end of the war in Iraq? I mean, we know when George W. Bush let me be clear, stood in front of a sign that said mission accomplished on an aircraft carrier just a few months into the war, that was not really the end of the war. An overwhelming majority, is it over 95% of the casualties took place after military operations had ended, of course.
Right. Well, it was called major combat operations.
Major combat operations. The other question is, has the U.S. won the war at this point? In theory, it is ending. We don't know whether it is or is not. Has the U.S. won? Is it even possible to win? What is the barometer?
What is winning? Was deposing Saddam Hussein winning?
I don't know. If that's the case, then we should have been out of there a long time ago, right? I don't know. And the other question is, what is the barometer for deciding whether, if and when, the U.S. goes back into Iraq? I mean, Lewis, what could happen potentially that you think would get us above that 50,000 troop threshold once again?
Some type of insurgents.
That's.
I mean, we'll always have a presence there, I imagine, until the wells dry up.
I don't know how far below 50,000 troops it will go. John McCain actually tweeted about it, and he said, this is a quote, "Last American combat troops leave Iraq. I think President George W. Bush deserves some credit for victory." You know, I thought George W. Bush already declared victory 7 years ago. What credit exactly does he deserve at this point is my question.
He declared victory many times. Only once, though, was it on an aircraft carrier with a big sign.
And holding a flight suit and holding a helmet in his hand. By this logic, if and when we actually close Guantanamo Bay, which Barack Obama indicated we will do, even though it's taking, we're already well past a year beyond the deadline he set, credit should go to Teddy Roosevelt, right? I mean, Teddy Roosevelt was president in 1903 when the Cuban-American Treaty that leased Gitmo to the U.S. was signed. So certainly, Teddy Roosevelt will deserve some credit when Barack Obama finally closes Guantanamo Bay.
Sure, some credit.
Obviously, I don't. Obviously, I'm kidding around. I don't know what John McCain is thinking exactly. I understand he has to say it, but I certainly don't agree with it. And news coverage of the end of the war has varied greatly, as you can imagine, Lewis. MSNBC devoted the entire primetime coverage to the story last week. Richard Engel was riding with the troops in a specially equipped vehicle. Rachel Maddow was stationed in Baghdad. Keith Olbermann anchored the entire thing from New York. On the other hand, Fox News Channel devoted just under 10 minutes to the story after 7 o'clock last Wednesday, most of it in Shepard Smith's newscast. And instead, the network decided to focus on what for 45 minutes, Lewis? Take a guess.
The mosque.
Absolutely right. The Ground Zero Mosque for 45 minutes, or as we should actually be calling it, the Lower Manhattan Community Center, which is what it actually is. And CNN spent an hour on each of the two stories. A little bit later, we'll talk about the Ground Zero Mosque with former Palestinian terrorist Waleed Shabat. Also, plenty more on cable news ratings, the Dr. Laura follow-up. Stay tuned, midweekpolitics.com.
This is Midweek Politics with Dave Pakman.
Midweek Politics is made possible in part by CSR Wire, the corporate social responsibility newswire at csrwire.com, by DIF Design, specializing in custom business websites at difdesign.com. To find out more about underwriting Midweek Politics, visit midweekpolitics.com.